So let me just quickly talk about this little formula, S equals theta r. This here means arc length. This is an angle in radians, must be in radians. And this, of course, is the radius. Now, this formula is quite simple, and really, because there are only the three elements to it, what always happens is you're going to be given two of the items. If you're given the angle and the radius, then you multiply them together to obtain the arc length. Or if you are given the formula, but given, let's say, the arc length and the angle, then you're finding r and just kind of working around in this. One of the things they'll do is they'll give you an angle in degrees, and you will need to convert that to radians to be able to work with it. So you'll put it in as radians. This relationship works because theta is in radians. All right, so that's an important element of it. Let me just maybe quickly do a question here and give you a sense of it. And I'll just make one up instead of doing one of the ones that they have here. But let me do that. So let me clear this out. And let's just say the central angle happens to be, let's say, I don't know, 135 degrees. And let's say the radius is 4. So, and they want to know what the arc length is. Now, just the visual picture of this would be something like this. So, a 4 here, 135 is here, and we would like to know, actually I shouldn't have shaded that in, what we're actually wanting to know is the arc length along the edge of that. This is what we're trying to find, is this. But the first thing we want to do, or one of the things we want to do, is convert that into radians. Now, you could do it old school or long school, where you multiply it by pi over 180, and then simplify that. The way I do this is, and I like to, on ones that I can recognize, pi over 4 happens to be 45 degrees. And three groups of 45 happen to be 135. So the way I would do this is the arc length is 3/4 pi over 3/4 pi times 4. The 4 is actually in this case canceled, and so we find out that 3 pi is the length if I was walking along the edge of this circle. I would walk a total of 3 pi in length. Let me do one more where maybe things are given to you. Maybe they tell you that the arc length, shouldn't use blue there, should I? The arc length is 2 pi, and they tell you that the angle is, I don't know, pi. And they would like to know what the radius is. So again, you just set it up and plug in things where they go. The arc length is given, the angle is 180 degrees. R there, so we would divide by pi to both sides, and the radius is exactly 2 centimeters in length. Now the last thing I want to show you is where this comes from, where this formula comes from. And here's the idea. 2 pi r is the full circumference, and we want to take a percentage of that, because we don't always want to know the arc length around the entire circle. Sometimes we might only want to know, from here to here, say. And so that would be a percentage of the whole. Now the whole is 2 pi, and the angle in radians would look like this. Now the cool thing about this is that 2 pi and 2 pi divide out. leaving you with this beautiful little formula that we've been using. Enjoy it.